I scoured YouTube and Reddit, and almost nobody is talking about this device. The BIQU Panda bamboo feeder promises bamboo-style automatic loading and spool switching for Klipper printers. But it comes with 0 printed instructions, so today we are figuring it out together. We'll design a custom Toolless mount for our SV08 Max and rewrite the Klipper macros to stop the printer from crashing. But you know our motto, we make mistakes so you don't have to. Stick around to see how this completely replaces the noisy stock feeder, setting the stage for endless printing, and I'll show you a hardware trick that could eliminate its bulky external power supply entirely. I'm gerGO, and welcome to gerGO Print 3D, the channel where my nephew Levi and I explore the best of 3D printing and laser DIY. By the time you watch this video, Levi and I might be on an exciting trip to visit Filament 3's headquarters, so this time it's just me in the workshop. Still, the usual translation-ready subtitles, chapter markers, and multi-language audio tracks are all here for your convenience. Look what we've just received in the mail. Believe it or not, these are 3D printed. If you haven't seen our teaser in the recent CNC video, we took on a crazy lab equipment repair project. We designed a replacement swing-out rotor for a 20-year-old test tube centrifuge. Well, the final parts are here. We teamed up with our newest sponsor, Justway, and they took my digital model and used SLM technology, selective laser melting, to 3D print these exact pieces out of solid industrial-grade aluminum. Just look at the finish and precision on these. We cannot wait to install them and test them at thousands of RPMs in a dedicated upcoming video. If you have a functional prototype that needs to be turned into real metal, injection molded or CNC machined, check out Justway using the link in the description below. Now on to the mystery at hand. Quick disclosure, BIQU sent us this unit to test for free. But as always, all opinions, fixes, and bad jokes are entirely my own. This Panda bamboo feeder also arrived yesterday alongside some new CryoGrip build plates BIQU sent us, and I just had to test it immediately. But when I opened the box, nothing. No user guide, no printed manual, just a QR code on the box pointing to a wiki online. In the box we received a single motorized feeder unit with a screen, a filament hub, some PTFE tubes, communication cables, and a power supply packaged separately. Now looking at the product page, it seems heavily optimized for bamboo lab printers, but digging into that wiki, I saw it was also intended for Klipper. And while we do have our bamboo H2S from Igor, its AMS can basically do what the Panda promises, so I wanted to see what this could do for our Klipper machines. So what does it promise to do? You feed your main filament into the EXT branch of this little hub and connect one or more motorized feeders to the other branches. The logic board detects when your main spool runs out and automatically switches to the next feeder. Endless printing. Since we only received a single feeder unit today, we cannot really test that continuous relay feature just yet, but we are going to use this smart motorized feeder to completely replace the troublesome and noisy stock auxiliary feeder on our SV08 Max. Let's power it up and connect it to the network. I plugged in the included external power supply, which has a really handy inline switch, and the OLED screen lit up. To get it talking to our network, you just connect to its temporary Wi-Fi hotspot, navigate to its IP address in your web browser, and input your home Wi-Fi credentials. Crucially, don't forget to switch the operating mode to Klipper and type in the static IP address of your 3D printer so the feeder knows exactly who to talk to. I highly recommend toggling the audible runout alarm here too. on or off. It's a great redundancy if you happen to be away from the main sail interface, but the loud beeping can also be extremely annoying. You can set the torque manually or have it auto-calibrate, but I'm yet to fully understand how this calibration works. It recommended level 2, but I increased it to level 4 for more rigid filaments to load fully on the very long filament path of the Max. And I also noticed the set level actually shows up on the mini screen too. Before ripping the stock feeder off of our SV08 Max for good, I did a dry run with this new Panda feeder on the couch using our Sandu SP2 dryer as a makeshift spool holder. For a look at what we think of that dryer, watch this earlier video. Interestingly, even with a single spool, you still have to route the filament through the included hub, as the ESP32 logic board uses it as a secondary filament sensor to verify the handshake with the printer. For the time being, I kept the stock Sovol feeder plugged in, just moving the reverse Bowden tube temporarily over to the new hub and pushed it into the Panda. It was able to feed all the way to the extruder lightning fast, but it did not auto-load to the nozzle just yet. For that, I still had to select load on the screen of the Max. We will get that auto-load working in a sec. Then I couldn't actually start to print before disabling the filament sensor, which was still handled by the old feeder. But once I got it printing, it fed smoothly and most importantly, so much more quietly than the stock Sovol gears. No more duck quacks. It even correctly detected a simulated filament run out when I snipped the line. It beeped like crazy. But the print didn't pause. And that's when I realized some Klipper macros still needed to be added and properly configured. But don't panic, we figured them out. If you appreciate us navigating these software headaches so you don't have to, hitting the like button is mostly harmless and a huge help for the channel. Now our couch is very comfy. Levi sleeps on it when he's here, but this feeder belongs on the Max. 2 companies dedicated to open source make this design job so elegant. Having access to Sovol's step files and 3D mockups from BIQU, I was able to produce a first prototype in FreeCAD. See it printed by the Max out of black Sovol PLA through the 0.6mm nozzle, already fed by a very comfy Panda still laying on the couch. How did this first draft turn out? Quite well. It actually fit both the printer and the feeder perfectly. But not at the same time. You need to hold these in your hand to realize the 2 pairs of screws had to be inserted from opposite directions, which means once I secured the adapter to the printer frame, the body of the printer blocked the rear screws needed to secure the feeder. It was a nightmare to assemble. So for version 2, I came up with this 2-piece sliding dovetail design. First, we attached the base plate directly to the printer frame. Then we secured the Panda feeder to the top plate. Finally, we simply slide the top assembly down over the base. It's a beautifully snug fit that stays rigid against Core X5 vibrations, but allows toolless removal. Just a heads up, the M3 screws BIQU includes are too long for my mount, so use 4 M3x5 screws instead. Both STL versions are already up on my Calls 3D page. This looks cool, but what you cannot see is the trouble we had when trying to print this with the Panda already taking the place of the stock feeder. See, we cannot simply unplug the CAN bus cable from the stock Sovol feeder. If we do, the printer throws an error and refuses to boot. We had to go into printer CFG and remove the buffer stepper include line. But doing that created a domino effect, causing the start print macro to fail. I ended up taking the base Klipper macro file provided by BIQU and customizing it heavily to play nice with both the SV08 Max and Demon Klipper Essentials. The full software installation is now very simple. Upload my updated BTT feeder CFG macro file, add the include line in your printer CFG in place of the old stock buffer line, save and restart, and Klipper is happy. With the macros in place, let's watch that improved mounting adapter printed out of Filamentry's beautiful Matte Pad G. I link to our test of that filament at the end of this video. I cut it to a 45-degree angle and pushed it into the Panda feeder, already taking its rightful place on the Max. See, I didn't even need to press the load button. It starts to feed as soon as the sensor detects the filament, pushing it all the way through the hub and down the long Baden tube. Very fast. Thanks to our updated macros, the printer automatically feeds the nozzle and purges the old color, fully automatic loading. No hiccup and no noise during printing, just smooth, satisfying feeding. When the print is finished, pressing the unload button reverses the process. There is just one small quirk. Because the filament path on the Max is so extremely long, a single press usually doesn't spit the filament all the way out. We have to press the unload a second or third time. This is actually a blessing in disguise though, because we need to be there to manually spin the spool to take up all that unloaded thread anyway. We haven't had a massive amount of time with this setup yet, but over the last 2 days, this upgrade has been incredibly refreshing. The Panda bamboo feeder intelligently ramps its motor torque to help advance the filament, completely eliminating that snapping noise from the old spring-loaded gears. It is significantly quieter, much more reliable, and the OLED screen provides a fantastic user interface right at the spool. If you want to get yours, please use our affiliate links below. It supports our channel at no extra cost to you. Please keep using our links for Sovol printers and accessories too. And we aren't done tinkering either. I discovered this all-Chinese self-test menu after long pressing the load button, which I translated with my phone. The motor test section is actually useful in it. Lets you manually advance or retract using the 2 buttons. Too bad it leaves the display in Chinese after exiting. Maybe they can fix this in a software update. And for our bonus promise, I really want to eliminate the need for that external power supply brick. The unused CAN bus cable hanging on the side of the Max has the exact 24 volts we need. If I can figure out the exact technical name of this specific plug type, I can order a mating socket and wire up a clean internal power solution. If you happen to know the name of this CAN bus plug, please let us know down in the comments. Speaking of clever filament solutions, the developer of the upcoming RFF or rotary filament feeder has just visited and shown us a test unit. So check out the link in the description because we might even team it up with this Panda in a future video. If we manage to get our hands on more feeders, I will absolutely test the relay setup to daisy chain multiple spools for those massive multi-day prints this printer is so capable of. Until then, grab the custom adapter STL files and the updated SV08 Max macros over on my Cult3D page. It's a way to support our endeavors financially. And a big shout out to the small group of our supporters on Ko-fi.com. They truly cover all our coffee and hot chocolate budget. You can check out all the other crazy upgrades on our Pim.Max in this playlist right here. And check out our filamentary experience before our factory trip in this video. Either way, let's go print 3D. Thank you for watching yet another gerGO Print 3D video all the way to the end. Keep your prints flowing and smooth sailing.